morning and welcome to the breakfast show, The Morning Brief. I'm Kayode Kikilo and I'm live for you in Lagos. It's Thursday, September the 19th, guys.
Yes, indeed.
Come on.
The year is running so fast and the year is coming to a close. It's just amazing. Just to take stock of what is going on in our lives, I always try to remind people all of that. But welcome to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.
Oh, just like yesterday when we were here for the first time. Time flies, indeed. It's Gratitude Thursday. Good morning and welcome to the program. I am Bukola Koka.
And to all our viewers who expected our show yesterday, and we apologize for that glitch. It was a major technical glitch. But we're back and better, as you can see, and we bet you that we'll give you double for that trouble you went through, rather. So stay with us right here on The Morning Brief. What a busy day it was yesterday, guys. Very busy day. It's like part 2 of is it the Red Eagle now and the White Lion? I'm talking Efcc and former Governor Yahaya Bello. And, you know, this has been a long-drawn drama. And I think at this point, Nigerians are just expecting some sort of closure to it. And I wonder why have this back and forth drama in the first place. This is something we'll, of course, give you some insight into, because last night there was an attempt made, certainly, to rearrest the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, and we'll be giving you all of the insights and details into that one. But just to let you know that, so what we have so far in the part 2 of the drama is that he's not been arrested successfully. There were gunshots and all of that, but he's not been arrested. So he remains wanted, according to the FCC.
Well, an interesting drama, Kadi, and you're right on the money that it's part 2. You know, we witnessed part 1 a few months ago at the residence of the former governor, and he was allegedly whisked away by the current governor. And it's as if, you know, they're Siamese twins now in part 2 of the arrest situation, where we saw the former governor in the premises of the EFCC, but with the current governor. So quite a number of issues besides that seeming difficulty in taking the man who's has been leveled with allegations of 80 billion naira fraud. You know, it's difficult to understand the situation. Does one immunity cover an immunity that has expired? It seems that is the bone of contention here. Well, the FCC has a tight case, you know, well, a difficult case, you know, to wrap around its investigation on its hands. And we hope that, you know, they pull through soon with this, and beyond all of the drama that we see on television, that the prosecution is done thoroughly and justice is served whichever way it goes, really. Jeffrey?
At the end of the day, I think these people are just taking us for a ride. I mean, all of them. The agency, the government, they're just taking us for granted. That's the truth. Because if it was maybe me and Kayode, would have been behind bars by now and facing whatever it is that is justice. When I saw what played out yesterday, I was like, you guys should just stop embarrassing Nigeria. This is a joke taken too far. For whatever reason, the gentleman said he came to your office. I don't know what played out in your office. And then you said he's still wanted, without even acknowledging whether he came there or he didn't come there. Because we saw the two statements. I had to compare, like, show it to you, what is going on here. He said he went to the office. They came out with a statement and said he's still a wanted man. So I know, well, I don't know all about the law. So if somebody is wanted, for instance, even sister agencies are on a watch list, literally. So anywhere we catch you, we can pick you up from there. But when it comes to Yahaya Bello, it looks like there's another law that governs this whole thing altogether. So that's why I say it's just a joke. This whole situation is just a joke. But this is my 1 cent on the matter. And this is directed at the EFCC chairman. It's quite simple. It's Olukoyede, that's his name. Olukoyede. No matter what you do as EFCC chairman, this is what Nigerians expect. No matter what you do as EFCC chairman, if Yahaya Bello is not taken to court to either clear his name on the allegations of 80 billion you leveled against him, or you find him guilty and put him in prison, if you like, help us make Naira come to 700 Naira, you failed. Because with your words, from your mouth to our listening ears, you said that you're not going to rest until he's prosecuted. So the standard on which we're going to measure your success is the issue of Yahaya Bello. If you fail with the issue of Yahaya Bello, either the man goes to clear his name and is acquitted, or you find him guilty. If he's guilty, then you failed as EFCC chairman. Just know that is the perception that Nigerians have of the agency. That is the truth. I heard him one day saying in a church event that, look, we will catch the small guys and catch the big guy and go after the big guys. Nigerians appreciate that you're catching Yahoo boys, but that is not what Nigerians are looking for. Get the politicians who allegedly steal our money and get them to face justice. If they are free, they can go. If they are not free, let them go to jail. Until you do that, I'm sorry, you did next to nothing.
So let's just walk you through what you saw there on the screen. You've seen former governor Yahaya Bello, the current governor. That's the current governor, Usman Ododo.
I don't even want to talk about Ododo.
The former governor. Just walk Nigerians through. Now, this is around the parking lot, as we can see there. The FCC building is still further down. So what we don't see is him going into the office. So what exactly happened here? Did he go with the governor? Or, he just made a surprise visit, appeared towards around the entrance, and then went back into the vehicle? Because this is definitely, and I can see most of the people around him look like his security. They look like their own personal security, and you see him walking towards the car yet again. So obviously, this is a drama playing out. I don't know who is playing more of the drama between the EFCC, but you wonder if he's right there in the facility and he's wanted. What stops them from arresting him?
And Kayode, it's not every day that a current governor and a former governor visit, an institution. So when they are around, even for a minute, 60 seconds, word would have gone round to the commission that these politically exposed persons are around. And one is on our watch list, by the way. So why they were unable to arrest the former governor upon the allegations leveled against him in the space of time that he appeared at the office, is still something that we're trying to wrap our heads around. And that's why we're wondering if the immunity of the former governor covers the immunity of the current governor. Perhaps we need lawyers to interpret the situation for us so that we don't run ahead of ourselves and jump into conclusions about the EFCC's inability, to rise to the occasion.
No, but there's no going above ourselves.
Those allegations should not be taken lightly.
So let's be clear. We don't even need a lawyer. Yahaya Bello's tenure has ended. He has no immunity. So there's no lawyer in that one. It's simple and clear in the law. His tenure ended. He's a private citizen. Right now, he's supposed to walk free, maybe because the former governor has 1 or 2 aides and all of that. So I like the angle that Kayode is taking. It doesn't know whether it is Usman Ododo, the governor that visited EFCC, and Yahaya Bello escorted him.
Tagged along, and it just came down, took some fresh air, and went back into the vehicle.
Because with the speed with which they released a statement, I had to look at the statement. Yeah. Okay, this is nice. That means because there's a case in court. Let's not forget. There's a case in court. So look, the truth is, let's just get the right things done. One rule cannot be for one person and another rule for the other person. Yahaya Bello, just to come and take a plea in court has been a tug of war. So if the man is not guilty, let's clear it with the court. If he's guilty, let's clear it with the court. And let's stop all this embarrassment where this is Nigeria's image, for God's sake. This is not nice.
We can't keep taking people for granted, but this is what we'll do. During Trends, we'll show you what played out last night. This was the early episode.
Yeah, we'll show them the real movie.
Exactly. So we'll show you what played out last night. But let's give you an insight into what we have on the show this morning. Yes, your guess is as good as mine. We're starting off with that back and forth, the drama, call it whatever. After a day filled with statements and counter-statements from the EFCC and former Governor Yahaya Bello, Nigeria's anti-graft agency again attempts to arrest Mr. Bello to no avail. So you wonder, what is next in this unending drama? That's a big question.
Yeah. Mr. Olukoyede has said that his job will be on the line if he's unable to successfully see this through to the end. So we wait to see.
We bookmarked that for him, Adela.
Yes, indeed. Besides that, we'll also be touching on politics. Mr. Julius Abure and his group continue to lay claims to the leadership of the party in spite of INEC's stance that his tenure expired in June and the emergence of the Nenadi Usman-led caretaker committee backed by Mr. Peter Obi. So we take a look at that, what's playing out in the Labour Party.
Well, we'll get to the environment. We've been tracking this because it's quite important. People's lives, their livelihood, literally everything is affected. Warning signs have come again from the federal government. More flood warning emerges this time for southern state. What must be done to avert this impending disaster, and what states are we to watch out for? You know about the Lagdo Dam and all of the dams that will be released. So, wow. This is quite a rough period for our people.
Absolutely. So we're hearing from that agency that is sounding the alarm. Find out what next. Finally on the show this morning, what does it take to tell Nigerian stories, and how rewarding is it? These are two major parts of the conversation. Absolutely. So today we sit down with one of the actors and directors telling these stories, and who knows, you may find some inspiration for your movie night.
I don't know what is going on with Kayode.
You all need some rest now. And I heard someone say, I don't do Nigerian movies, right? And I heard one of the actors saying, the person approached him to take pictures, and he said, I don't do Nigerian pictures too. So if you're one of them, I hope
it's just, what goes on in Nigeria is a full movie in itself.
There you go.
Because we've seen... Let's not go there.
So you can be a part of the show. Hashtag CTV Morning Brief. That's how you can be a part of the show. Let us know what you think about this drama. We call it Efcc versus Yahaya Bello Part 2.
2-0, by the way.
There you go. Needless, some have called it, but what is your thought on it and other issues that will come up today? So hashtag CTV Morning Brief. Send them in right now, and we'll definitely air your opinions with the world. But we'll take a moment now. In a few seconds, we'll take the top stories. So stay with us. Top stories at this hour. It was a long night as officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, again made an attempt to arrest former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, at the Kogi State Governor's Lodge at the Sokoro district in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. However, there was resistance by security operatives at the Governor's Lodge as gunshots rented the air during the altercation, and the former governor is reported to have left the lodge in company of the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo. These are reports yet to be confirmed. But what we know now is the entire area was cordoned off, and movements around that area was restricted to only operatives of the EFCC and other security agencies stationed there while the standoff lasted. We understand that normalcy has been restored, but prior to that time, Channels Television's camera vehicle keys were seized by security agencies. But prior to that, it was a long day that began with the appearance of the former Kogi State Governor, Mr. Yahaya Bello, at the headquarters of the EFCC, and that situation, of course, has spiraled into a bigger controversy. In a press statement, at first, the director of Yahaya Bello's media office, Mr. Ohere Michael, says that the former governor finally honored the invitation of the commission, but was not interrogated. However, the head of the media and publicity of the EFCC, Mr. Dele Oyewale, says the former governor is not in the holding facility of the commission and remains wanted by the EFCC. Then pictures emerged showing the former governor. There you can see him in company of a current governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, both of them wearing matching outfits just around the compound of the EFCC. Well, Mr. Bello is facing money laundering charges to the tune of 80 billion naira. And this is a development story, and we'll bring you more updates as they come in. Let's turn our attention to the environmental challenge. The federal government is issuing an urgent warning to states in southern Nigeria of impending flood, especially in Edo, Delta Rivers, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Uche Naji, issued the warning during a press briefing in Abuja.
The overflow of the dam affected 137 hectares of land between July 1st and July 31. However, between August and September, a sharp increase was observed, with the overflow affecting 2,053 hectares by the end of August and reaching a staggering 18,737 hectares by mid-September. These satellite images indicate a significant and escalating flood risk. We advise downstream states, including Kogi, Edo, Delta Rivers, and Bayelsa, to activate all necessary flood control measures. We will continue monitoring activities across the country and provide regular updates.
Well, this is a major conversation on the show, and we'll be bringing you more insights. But let's tell you that Vice President Kashim Shettima says the federal government will explore the trade export opportunities that the halal economy offers. Is that at this the stakeholders' engagement held at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa Abuja, where it was disclosed that the halal economy is projected to reach a global market value of $7.7 trillion by next year.
For Nigeria to become a hub of opportunities in the global halal economy, we must prioritize our strengths and reassess our weaknesses. Today's engagement provides a platform for us to collaborate with key international organizations. This will allow us to develop a comprehensive halal ecosystem and agree on strategies that will position Nigeria as a top halal exporter, targeting high value markets.
Let's tell you about the common situation in Edo State. As Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa says the Army will play its part to ensure a safe and peaceful governorship election in Edo State come Saturday. Now, General Musa gave the assurance during a courtesy visit to the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, in his office, where he said that the armed forces have a brief from the presidency to ensure that the electorate have a conducive atmosphere to vote for their candidate. Now, the governor on his part is of the view that most of the issues have come from non-political actors, noting that even with public complaints, the police has refused to be fair, in his words. And the PDP Board of Trustees has met with the Bauchi State Governor and Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed, just a day after the National Working Committee met with him, led by former Senate President and BOT Chairman Adolfo Swabara. The delegation expresses concern over recent developments within the party, highlighting the need for consultation to resolve the issues. And out of the camp of the Labour Party, as Julius Abure group of the party has been reacting to the decision of Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, rejecting him as national chairman of the party. At a news conference in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Abure, expressed disappointment in the action of the electoral umpire. Mr. Abure insists that there is no vacancy in the leadership of the party, noting that a federal high court in Abuja, presided over by Justice J.K. Omotosho, had earlier declared the national convention of the party, held in Nnewi on March 26, valid. And let's tell you labor matters now, not the political time. The Joint Action Committee of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU, has directed the branches across the country to proceed on an indefinite strike in October should the federal government fail to pay the 4-month withheld salaries of their members. The new directive is contained in a circular to the branch chairman or chairman of the two unions, which was cited by our labor correspondent. Well, SANU and NASU are demanding, among other things, a payment of 4-month withheld salaries of their members, improved remuneration, earned allowances, amongst others. Well, let's tell you that the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Abia State Command says its operatives have rescued 2 young women from a baby factory in Aba, where they were harbored to produce babies for sale. A briefing newsman on the raid in Umuahia, the state commandant of NSCDC, Usman Ishaq Al-Fadarai, told journalists that the successful operation was carried out following credible intelligence, adding that 2 women, named Winner Ogochukwu from Itamboma in Imo State and Doris Nelson from Gombe State, were set free in the process. Also says the owner of the baby factory was arrested during the operation. And in South River State, following the violence that trailed the Joy Youth Council list and zone election in the Abaloma area of Port Harcourt, rival groups are pointing accusing fingers at each other. Now, one of the chairmanship candidates in a press briefing called for a cancellation of the results, while the other camp is calling on security agencies to question him for his role in the incident. Well, there you have it, the top stories at this hour. But what have you been saying about the Yahaya Bello and Efcc situation, as well as other issues? Well, Jeffrey joins me as we walk through your comments right now on the show. Jeffrey.
Absolutely. There's a lot, of course. And this time, we're going to show them all the videos of what played out as much as we can. Of course, the number one thing here is Yahaya Bello was arrested at midnight, sting operation, and he didn't surrender.
That was what was being reported, but EFCC came to clear the air.
That was what was being reported, but EFCC said, look, we couldn't arrest him. And we've talked about this as to what really is going on with the issue of Yahaya Bello and the EFCC and the inability of a state, the Nigerian state, to be able to just get a man for him to plead guilty or not guilty and then follow the entire process to either clear his name or be committed to prison if he's found guilty. It's just distasteful at the end of the day what is playing out. Tuluwa Lashe says, more like laugh out loud kind of situation. You people are playing us in this country. Yahaya Bello said he's in EFCC custody, but you people are saying he's not. Well, he never said he's in EFCC custody. We didn't see that.
He said he visited.
He said he visited.
I think this was just people trying to be smart.
Yeah.
I mean, did you go through the process? You get into the EFCC office. Did you speak with EFCC operatives? Did they question you? So obviously, rushing to release a statement, and then EFCC saying he's not in our holding facility confused a lot of people because they saw him in the compound. But the holding facility is definitely different from the compound. So that's what a lot of people were wondering. This doesn't make sense.
So this is what played out last night. So you're seeing videos of pressmen, the police, and all of that situation at night. And it was a very, let's call it wonderful for lack of a better word, situation. The EFCC is trying to get Yahaya Bello arrested. It appeared at their office, and then in the night he was with the governor of the state. That is his successor, Usman Ododo, and all of this happened. So for people that are questioning immunity, Yahaya Bello doesn't have any immunity. The only person with immunity is Usman Ododo. Whether he's not using or abusing that power of immunity is another conversation altogether with the courts as well as with the lawyers. But this is just unfortunate to see.
And I should say that yet again we had gunshots ringing in the air. So it speaks to coordination within the security agencies. I know that at least 3-4 are represented. EFCC, there's the DSS, there's the police, and maybe more. So what is going on with coordination there? So you can imagine how we then handle security issues if we cannot coordinate well on this one. The next user, Sadiq Mohammed, says the case has been before a competent court of jurisdiction, and Yahaya Bello had been duly represented by his legal team at every hearing. This user says it is important for the former governor to now honor the invitation of the EFCC to clear his name, as he has nothing to hide.
Well, former showboy said, but why has he not been arrested? Why is he still wanted? Is it too big for the EFCC to apprehend? What immunity is he enjoying? EFCC needs to give the public this detail. Now, if you look at the EFCC statement, even they were not very clear. But what my reading of what EFCC said was that, look, we don't know whether this guy came here or not, because they never, in their statement, the last I saw, I stand to be corrected, they never acknowledged that he came to the office. In that statement, they only said he's still a wanted man. They claim, according to Yahaya Bello, with video and picture evidence, we saw him around the surrounding. We didn't see him move into the building or any form of, official whatever. I don't know. It's just a joke. It's just a clear joke. Kayode, you have the next one.
Well, I think we can hold off on this. I know the next user is asking, where is Yahaya Bello? And I think this is just record what a lot of Nigerians are asking. Where is Yahaya Bello? We understand he wasn't arrested last night. Unconfirmed reports say yet again he left with the governor's convoy. This is something we're waiting to confirm. But what we know so far is that the EFCC has not been able to arrest him. But let's turn our attention to the Labour Party issue. By the way, this is something we'll get into. There's an impending flood risk in Kogi State, Jeffrey.
Yes.
You get it. It was released yesterday. So I'm hoping that we're paying attention to this, not just shielding former Governor Yahaya Bello.
Another part of that whole Yahaya issue is this idea that Governor Ododo will leave his work. And, okay, we don't know whether he escorted Ododo or Ododo escorted him. But if we follow the statement, it means Yahaya Bello, okay, yes, it was no. Yahaya Bello went because the statement says he was accompanied by high-profile citizens. That high-profile citizen we saw was Usman Ododo. How Usman Ododo, the governor of Kogi State, left his job as governor and followed his predecessor to go for just an invitation. Oh boy.
Well, the people of Kogi who are being governed, I imagine they have one or two to say. But let's talk about INEC rejecting Abure as Labour Party's national chairman. But then we saw, Just so you see this one more time, that is what played out. But let's come back now and talk about other matters within the Labour Party, and that's INEC rejecting Abure, and then the press statement, or the press conference given by Abure's group saying, no, there's a court that gave a decision, so Abure remains in charge. Back and forth now. Well, this user, God's Will, Loan for Niger, says, Dear Abure, sir. So this is a letter written to Julius Abure. It's obvious power is sweet. I mean, very sweet, especially on the Nigerian soil at the moment. But the fact is, there's time for everything. This user says your time in that position is over. Be humble to leave without even trying to be what you once fought against. Ends by saying farewell. I think you meant to say yours sincerely or something with letters like this, but there you go.
Popular San says he should. Where am I? I hope I'm not going. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw arrested. I wanted to be sure I'm not reading about Yahaya Bello again. Popular said he should be arrested if he portrays himself as chairman. This group of individuals should be shown exit door in Nigeria, Nigerian political space.
Very interesting situation, which we'll tell you about in just a few seconds. So INEC says one thing, then the Abure group says no. The court is backing our own move. So let's keep the gunpowder dry on that one. In just a few seconds, we'll give you the sides to this one. But let's give you this one. Teachers of government-owned schools and the FCT embarking on indefinite strike. So the education sector has been challenged on different fronts, tertiary, secondary, even at the primary level. And you see this user, Tyler, who says teachers should be the highest earners in the country. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay.
The eyes have it.
The eyes have it. So this user says teachers should be the highest earner in this country. So teachers' reward should no longer be in heaven. It should be right here.
I totally agree.
Meaning and he ends by saying they train doctors, lawyers, engineers. I wonder if politicians will agree and other people who earn higher than the minimum wage.
All right. Emirati says, why wouldn't they embark on indefinite strike when a lot of allocation goes to wrong things? Then infrastructure and empowerment incentives for teachers who are the nation builders are thrown to the mud.
The next user says that, let's see. Okay, this is Yoruba. Confused me for a moment. Says, Aku strike, lotun, losi. So you know that the Yoruba culture is big on greeting. They can greet you for a lot of things. So this user in Yoruba sense is greeting you that I greet you over the strike left and right. That's what the user says. Goes on to say that government are increasing everything. Or government is increasing everything, but has refused to pay them what they owe them. So there you go.
We have more time now. I think Johnson says, this one no good at all. Indefinite strike will really affect the students' hope, then feel resolve and so on. More like the strike will affect the students and all of that. So that's just interpretation of what's going on. Do we have more time?
Yeah, just one more as we go. This one is about the flood situation, and it's a conversation we'll have for you on the show. Kogi and some other southern states have been issued a warning about possible flooding. And Oluwashola says the government should, as a matter of urgency, complete the buffer dam to accommodate the excess water released from Lagdo Dam. And time is of the essence, we must say. We can't continue to spend billions on relief materials to affected people yearly when we can put a permanent stop to this yearly flood disaster.
All right, Terence, I think let's take this last one. Every year, same situation, yet no administration has seen the importance of finding a permanent solution to this annual release of water from the Cameroon Dam. Also, Nigeria was supposed to build a counter dam to contain the excesses coming from Cameroon.
So, that is what we have, at least so far, from your comments. Keep them coming. Hashtag CTV Morning Brief. There's quite a lot on our table this month, but we're starting off with that political drama within the Labour Party. We'll bring you the sides to it, and you get a sense of what is playing out. And hopefully, make your own judgment. That's the moment to stay with us.
Welcome back to the program. So we kickstart right on immediately this morning with the situation at the University of Ibadan. Of course, that's how we started off yesterday with the reports about the increase in tuition fees. Now we have what seems like an expanded view of what's playing out with the University Student Union authorities calling for the removal of the Vice Chancellor of the institution. Of course, we've extended an invitation to the University authorities so that they can get a right of reply following the import of this conversation. But let's get an understanding of what exactly is playing out as the president of NAN Senate, Mr. Akinteye Babatunde, joins us now for this conversation. Good morning, Mr. Akinteye.
Good morning, ma. Good morning.
So we've seen your statement calling for the removal of the Vice Chancellor. You've outlined a number of allegations, but we would like to hear from you directly this morning about what's playing out. Why are you calling for the removal of the Vice Chancellor?
Thank you very much. We are calling for the removal of the Vice Chancellor because his decisions and things he is doing in University of Ibadan, it has brought a lot of hardship to our students. The welfareism of our students is nothing to talk about. And the increment, the over 500% increment that they brought up in UI is not acceptable. And it is obvious that our students cannot pay such money. And that is why you are seeing them coming out to say they are doing crowdfunding. And anytime, look at the industry of this country, even when tuition fee are increased, you write to the school, you get the opportunity to discuss with the management and tell them these are not supposed to be, things are not supposed to be like this. Many of them review downwardly after that discussion. It happened in Unilag. We went there, the Vice Chancellor, in a passionate manner, reviewed downwardly. Together with us, we sat down. We saw things that they need to increase. With the union, we saw things that are not necessary. And they removed it and it was business downwardly. When OAU increased, the student union engaged them. When FUTA increased, they engaged them. But UI increased. And the man did not even listen to any engagement. Rather, he shut down the school, sent students home for 3 weeks, and asked them to come back and they should come and write exams. And every avenue to talk to them, and this is not supposed to be. Instead of him to listen to us, he threatened the student union and asked them to make an announcement that UI are not part of NAS.
Well, let me follow up on this. At the heart of it is also the tuition increase. And I mean, hearing a student that was paying 40,000 naira before now asked to pay 300,000 naira, that's a lot. But understanding the economic situation is yet another issue. But people have asked time and again that what happened to the students' loan. So we pulled out that list that is always released by Nelfon. And at the last check, we said that University of Ibadan has only gotten 9 million naira. My question to you is, your students, your members, is it that they didn't apply well enough? Because we can see other schools getting 218 million, in fact, hundreds of millions of naira. But the premier university, first and the best, getting 9 million naira so far from Nelfon just leaves a very bad taste. So what exactly happened there? Quickly.
Let me tell you what is even making the resolve of the Vice Chancellor to be had. During the launching of the student loans, the flag up of the payment, it was in the presidential villa. We were there. When some schools were getting high check, he got 9 million. And it was like, why? What happened? Why are students from you? I know. See, students from this, students from the south. Many of them did not believe this loan for months. And that is why we have even been going around to schools to sensitize students that the loan is real. But either there is net fund loan or not, it is students that get this loan that will pay. From 30,000 to 230 is not acceptable. UI is not the only school in the country. From 50,000, 60,000 to 412,000 is not acceptable. Either the student will pay with net fund loan or not. And he is strong in his resolve because net fund loan is available. Students should go and get it. Now, 3,200 students have been approved for net fund because at the initial stage, many of them did not apply. But later they started applying. Now they have gotten approval of 3,200. But what we are saying is that either with net fund or not, that increment is too much. It is not justifiable. He used electricity, the new tariff of electricity as one of the reasons to increase. And even the federal government, as I speak, they are doing independent power plants that are generating light through solar. The minister for electricity told us They have done Abuja own. They are doing coming. They are doing UI. So now, if they are generating light through solar for them in UI,
all right,
and they are not paying money to BEDC again or for power,
Mr.
is it going to withdraw back? To reduce the money?
Apparently, from all that you have said, this subject matter has many implications to it, but we must anchor at this point, and we hope to expand it later on, particularly when we get the authorities of the University of Ibadan to respond to some of the things that you have said. Thank you so much for your time on the program. We've had Mr. Akintaye Babatunde, President of NAN's Senate, speaking to us on this matter. Up next now, we'll be touching on Labour Party politics as we have one of the chieftains joining us. He's also a member of the Senate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's now get straight to the conversation around the, would you call it political intrigue or political crisis or interest crisis within the Labour Party? A couple of factions, literally, in that party, and they are trying to put it together, but it looks like the center is still not holding, which is why we are having this conversation. The biggest thing that happened lately was the fact that INEC has stopped recognizing Julius Abure as the chairman of the Labour Party, insisting that his tenure ended in June 2024. But Abure and his people are saying, no, we have a court judgment that, says Abure is still the substantive chairman of the party. But the presidential candidate, the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, and some chieftains of the Labour Party, they met in Umar here and they set up a caretaker committee led by former senator, and now ahead of their convention. So we're having that conversation as to what is playing out in the Labour Party. We're being joined by Senator Victor Ume, senator representing Anambra Central District in the National Assembly. Distinguished, thank you, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
So I know that I listened to Dr. Alex Oti when the caretaker committee was set up. He said, look, we're not removing anybody. We just want to find a way out of this, quote unquote, in my words now, imbroglio. Not as if we're taking out anybody. But now INEC has said, look, Abure is not even recognized as the chairman. That's why successive meetings, the Abure group have not been invited. So, but INEC has been silent on who they are talking to, although Abure's name is still on their website. So, as we speak now, who leads? Who is leading the Labour Party? Maybe you can dovetail from there to others.
Well, thank you very much. Flowing from the statement you made, that LXOT made, when the stakeholders met in Omaha on the 4th of September, it was emphatically stated that we did not gather to remove anybody from any position he's occupying in the Labour Party. Instead, we were responding to the situation the party found itself, where the supposed leaders of the party ran the party into a ditch, to the extent that the Independent National Electoral Commission, as you have pointed out, stopped recognizing the national chairman and the executive committee under him as the people running the party. We saw these developments playing out from our respective places, and we looked at the situation very critically, and also saw that the Labour Party is being excluded from all activities organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission for the same reason that the tenure of office of the people in charge of Labour Party has expired due to a fluctuation of time, and for reason that they failed to do what they ought to do to put in place a succeeding leadership in the party. So that was what gave rise to the concerns expressed by all the good people in the party, and His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi and Dr. LXOT, the governor of Abia State, had to rally the party people together, all the major stakeholders in the party, including the representatives of the Nigerian Labour Congress and TUC, to come together and find a way to resolve the impasse. That's what happened. Before I go into discussing this matter, let me draw you to what the Constitution says about leaderships in political parties. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. I read from Section 223 of the Constitution. Section 223 of the Constitution says, Sub 1, the Constitution and rules of a political party shall provide, that is A, provide for the periodical election on a democratic basis of the principal officers and members of the executive committee or other governing body of the political party. And then B, ensure that the members of the executive committee or other governing body of the political party reflect the federal character of Nigeria. Subsection 2, and very, very importantly, it says A, the election of the officers or members of the executive committee of a political party shall be deemed to be periodical only if it is made at regular intervals, not exceeding 4 years. And go on further. So you can see this is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and this Constitution guides everything in Nigeria. Both the Electoral Act and the various constitutions of different political parties are subject to this provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under this subject. So bringing it back to what is playing out in the Labour Party, the contentious issue is that the tenure of office of the Abure-led the National Executive Committee of the party has expired out of explosion of time. And for you to provide or create a succeeding leadership following this expiration by a fluctuation of time, you have to take steps as required by this provision in the Federal Constitution, in line with your party constitution, to conduct elections periodically and at regular intervals for periods not exceeding 4 years.
Senator,
so what this means now is that, yes.
Just so that, for want of time, so my question is, I understand what you're saying, but yes, the argument is also the fact that
yes,
even your law doesn't have any space for caretaker anything. But my question to you is, who is INEC speaking to? There's an election in about 48 hours. If INEC is not talking to Abure, INEC is talking to someone. You have a candidate who is one of the 3 top candidates in this election. Doesn't that concern? So who is INEC talking to?
Yes. Well, the issue is very clear from the question you are asking. If we don't have a leadership that is recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission for breaching the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the party is still in place, and the party is still alive, but without leadership. So INEC must be dealing with the party through some means, and that's what the party has gathered to do. The party people have gathered to do, to put in place a caretaker committee that will be interfacing with INEC on behalf of the party until the proper things are done. They know that nature abhors vacuum. If we don't have leadership in place, it does not suppose that the Labour Party is now extinct. And that's what we have done, to come in and fill in the gap. This thing just happened, and we are taking steps to ensure that INEC should be talking to some people in the party. And that's what we have done. So the caretaker committee that has been put in place by a broad spectrum of the stakeholders in the party are the people the party recognize now to be representing them in all matters. So somebody whose tenure has expired cannot be talking about being in charge of the party, for the simple reason that he was there, and therefore nobody should talk about the party even in his absence. So it is no longer possible for him to represent the party. So now you've spoken about the governorship election that is 48 hours or thereabouts away in Edo State. For the past 2 months, all the activities relating to this election, Abure and his team have been completely absent in the process. Campaigns have been going on in Edo State. Abure has never appeared there with anybody he's talking to be leading the Labour Party with. All the party people have not left our candidate in Edo State stranded. We were there yesterday to do a final campaign with our candidate, Olumide Apata, and Abure was not there. Those people he said they are representing the party with, they were not there. So what we are doing is that the party has to move on and rectify all the mistakes they made, because these were willful mistakes. You cannot bring yourself into office to succeed yourself without following the due process.
So I think from what you've said so far,
I just read out for you.
Right. So from what you said so far, Senator,
let me tell you. Let me explain.
No, just a moment, just so we can leave people with a clear understanding of what is going on. Is INEC speaking to you, or at least the caretaker committee led by Nenadi Usman? Yes or no? Has INEC recognized Nenadi Usman's caretaker committee?
Well, I'll take a question from this perspective. When this thing started, people from the party, even groups, had to go and speak to the INEC chairman to find out what was playing out between INEC and Abure-led executive committee. And the INEC chairman told them flatly that we have no leadership because of the effluxion of time against Abure and his team, that they failed to do what they were supposed to do. They didn't do congresses. They didn't do anything before they arrived at the convention they purportedly conducted to bring themselves back to office. So we went back.
Pardon me to butt in quickly. Pardon me, Senator Omer. So you've laid the background. Just a second, Senator Omer. I'll allow you land on your thoughts, pardon me. But just to broaden this conversation, you've laid the background. You've given us why you were motivated, your group was motivated to do this. But, you know, Mr. Obiorefo in that presser yesterday spoke about some court rulings, whether or not you are aware, your group is aware of that court ruling, or even INEC is aware. And we have joining us someone who can shed light on that, Mr. Ayo Olorunfemi, who is Deputy National Chairman of the Labour Party, joins us virtually. Mr. Olorunfemi, you've listened to Senator Omer. he said that this had to be done because INEC clearly was not recognizing anybody, basing it on, the sections of the Constitution that guards, party activity. INEC is obviously not speaking to Julius Abure as well. So from that light, do you maybe resonate with what Senator Ome has said? Or do you disagree? Please unmute so we can hear you, Mr. Lorifin.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a much. What are you saying?
Well, my question is, we've been speaking with Senator Ome, who gave us a background as to why action had to be taken to ensure that the Nenadi Usman Caretaker Committee comes in. Because INEC was not speaking to anybody. INEC was saying Labour Party has no leadership, not following the constitutional provisions for party activities, how to elect leaders, and the tenure of Mr. Abure. So do you resonate with him? Do you agree with him on that one and the emergence of the CTC, the Caretaker Committee?
Yeah, what is playing out is the fact that we brought the bad eggs, we admitted the bad eggs in PDP and APC, APGA, we brought them into the party. And so what they are used to and what they are very good at is what is playing out. I heard him when he was reading the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I don't know whether he believed or he thought that Nigerians are not lettered, not educated. And so you can read anything. Just like some pastors some people will turn the Bible to suit their own particular interest. First and foremost, there was an election. So if the tenure expired, there was an election. And the Electoral Act gave the provision that you give INEC 21 days of notice before the election can take place, before a national convention can be held. And it is only two people. There are only two people that can summon the national convention or make a meeting of the party. And those two people are the national chairman and the national secretary. Now this letter was written even before 21 days. And of course, the Justice Omotosho has already confirmed this and said that the maximum, the 21-day notice that was given was sufficient and was in line with the provision of the Electoral Act. Now, INEC as a regulator is not a trap setter. If that notice was not sufficient, if that notice was not acceptable, the INEC has a responsibility to respond to the party and say, you cannot hold this election for so and so reason. Or you cannot go into this convention for so and so reason. INEC did not do anything. And of course, silence means go ahead, as usual. We went into the convention, elected our leaders, and we forwarded this same report back to INEC. INEC received this report first month, second month, third month, before some people that he is talking about went to INEC, pressurized INEC to do their bidding. And forgetting that this same INEC destroy our chance of winning the presidential election. They are now their friends. And of course, like INEC will concede to them and create confusion. And what we are saying now, we are in court. We had to go to court when we were hearing this rumor and when we were disallowed from participating in trading of agents. We took INEC to court to come and explain. And what INEC is now saying is that our national convention did not follow Electoral Act. How? Why? They couldn't explain. All they are saying, the same language that this set of people that have just spoken to you, the same language they are singing is what INEC is now singing, which they cannot substantiate in the law. They can't substantiate it in the law of the party. And, let's even assume without conceding that the tenure of the NWC has expired. Is it Alex Oti or Obi that will convey meeting? Assuming without conceding that the tenure of the NWC has expired, it's not in their duty to conduct. It's still the same person whose tenure has expired that will convene a meeting in line with the constitution of the party. So they are here to make trouble. They are here to create confusion. We admitted. The Nenadi that you are talking about is not even yet a member of the party. Tell him, I challenge her. Tell her to provide the register of the party that contains his name. I mean, that contains her name. She's not a member. These people joined barely 2 years ago, claiming to be joining. We are not even sure whether they have properly resigned from their PDP. Tell them to show you evidence of their resignation from PDP. At least there will be an acknowledged copy of the letter they submitted. Tell them to show you. They came from that place to come and destroy this place, but it won't work. We are on ground.
All right, Mr. Olorunfemi, let me take it back to Senator Ume, following up on what you said specifically about INEC failing to act on the report for about 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Senator Ume, granted that the Congress held by Mr. Julius Abure in March was disputed by members of the party, but following that dispute, which also led to internal crisis within the party, why did INEC not register its dissatisfaction with that process all that while? Why is INEC only just coming out now to say that it refuses to recognize Julius Abure as national chairman of the party? It would seem like, that refusal to recognize the national chairman lacks some form of propriety, because it's an independent body that seems to be getting emotional and involved with the internal wranglings within a political party. That's on the one hand. Respond to that first.
Well, I think it is the duty of the political parties to organize themselves properly in accordance with the provisions of the law. INEC, as a monitor, will look at you whether you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing, and they take the decision after looking at what you've been doing. What these people have failed to tell you, particularly Dr. Olorunfemi, who is insulting everybody now, is that there was a consent judgment which Abure-led executive signed with the Labour, NLC, and TUC, who are stakeholders in the party. Because Abure and his team didn't come into their leadership through any election. The former chairman died, Absalam, and they had to get Abure and his team to fill in the gap. And there was an agreement that they will conduct world congresses, local congresses, state congresses, and then convention to bring in a proper leadership for the party within 1 year. It was INEC that brokered this settlement, and the parties signed. Abure signed with Farouk Omar, his secretary. And when they went into the leadership of the party under that ad hoc basis, they were expected to do these things within 1 year. And this agreement was reached in 2022 by INEC intervention. Now, the terms of settlement they took to the court earlier on was delivered as a judgment of the court by Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court. They have been silent on this consent judgment, and they have failed to conduct any world congresses, any local government congresses, any state congresses, and then suddenly they said they've arrived at a convention. When their tenure expired, the mandate given to them was to do these things within 1 year. Last year, they were supposed to start these processes after the general elections. They said because there were litigations in court that they needed an extension of 1 year, before they would be able to do these things. And the party gathered in Asaba. I was there too. The tenure was extended by 1 year to enable them concentrate on the matters in court, election disputes and all that. After that, they were supposed to begin with world congresses, local government congresses, state congresses, then convention. As I'm speaking with you here now, Abure and his people, including Olorunfemi, they've not conducted any world congress in the Labour Party since they assumed office.
Mr. Olorunfemi,
and now they have come on a sudden flight. They've not come to a sudden flight that they've done a convention to restore themselves as leaders of the party. When you have failed to build the pyramid, you do the world congresses, do local government congresses, do state congresses, and culminate in a convention. They didn't do any of these things. And that's what INEC has faulted.
All
they
right.
are now citing they've gone to court. Dr. Motosho said their convention was valid.
May I come
it cannot
in there?
Be so.
Yeah, Mr. Olorunfemi will have time to respond to that. But why is Mr. Abure's name still recognized as National Chairman of Labour Party on INEC's website? That's on the one hand. And on the other hand, Mr. Olorunfemi has said that some members of the party under this current caretaker committee are not Labour Party members, really. Speaking of the leader of that committee, Senator Nenadi Usman, I'd like you to respond to that as well.
Well, that is a frivolous claim. If myself, Senator Victor Ume, who contested election through the Labour Party and won election and become a senator, and all the senators in the party, like produced by the party, were in the meeting. All over 90% of the members of the House of Representatives elected by the party, through the party, came to the meeting. House of Assembly members, the only governor we had, and the presidential candidate of the party. I think these people are living in a fool's paradise by describing the people who gathered to be non-members of the party and all of us who are in the... I'm a member of the caretaker committee, mind you. So also two other senators, members of the House of Reps 4, members of the House of Assembly. It was a broad membership of the party coming together to take this action. The only governor you have is also not a member of the party. So they are not telling the people the truth. They are running away from what they have put themselves into. And no amount of rigmarole will cover the truth, that they didn't follow the process to renew their leadership. And that's what has kept us here. That their name is in the website does not make them leaders of the party. The who does not make a monk. You have to be exercising that authority effectively and effectually to the satisfaction of everybody for you to claim to be in place. And you have heard that the court has no jurisdiction over internal affairs of political parties, matters of political parties. They are now relying on the court to hoist themselves on the party. They should make a very quick round return and know that Senator, this thing we are talking about is not something that will go to the... Yes.
Yes, okay. Yes. I think your membership of the Labour Party is not the focus. I've spoken to a couple of the Abure group. I've listened to them. Their contention, which demands a direct answer, if you can give us a direct answer, if I take it to Mr. Olorunfemi, is Nenadi Usman a registered card-carrying member of the Labour Party? And when did she join the Labour Party? That is the question.
Of course, she is a member of Labour Party. Olorunfemi cannot be speaking, branding any person not to be a member of Labour Party. When Mr. Peter Obi resigned from the PDP, because all of them were in PDP, and joined Labour Party, Nenadi Usman also resigned from the PDP and followed Peter Obi to the Labour Party. He registered in Kaduna State, his home state, in his ward. So she's a member of the party. And she was part of the whole processes, the election campaigns. I was with her in various campaign fora as a member of Labour Party. So now that these people have found themselves in a tight corner, they want to dismiss anybody they see as not a member of the party.
Let's take it to Mr. Olorunfemi. Yes. Senator, let's take it. Mr. Olorunfemi, you heard Senator May responding to you that Senator Nenadi Usman is a member of the party. But added to your response, I'd like you to speak to the issue of that consent judgment that they say it was an arrangement that INEC brokered. No, hold on, Mr. Olorunfemi, sorry, my apologies. Because besides what we're talking about, your Abure faction and then the CTC, there's Kalisis Okafor somewhere who also has a judgment and saying, look, how did acting National Secretary Julius Abure, after the death of the then chairman, emerge as the chairman of the party when he was the deputy national chairman and should have naturally become maybe the acting chairman? He's on the fringe, around the corner. I spoke to him yesterday, and he's still laying claim to the leadership now that Abure is not being recognized by the party. And Senator May also said, you didn't conduct any congresses that culminated in your Nnewi convention that brought in Julius Abure yet again. So I want you to speak to these issues.
All right. First and foremost, let me take it from those who attended the so-called stakeholder meeting that appointed an illegal caretaker committee meeting. 3 House of Rep members attended. One of the Rep members came to give us report. Yes, Ume and about three other senators attended. Okay, so it's not true that all the representative of 90% or 80% of House of Rep members attended. It's not true. Okay, and secondly, you cannot convene a meeting. The governor of Abia State cannot convene a meeting of the party. He can convene the state executive council meeting, but they cannot convene a meeting of the party. Even the meeting of his own ward, he will need to get approval of his ward chairman to conduct such meeting. For that kind of meeting to hold. That is on that. Secondly, on the Nadi Usman, you have had a lot of people who came from PDP to come and assist Peter Obi in the party. She is one of them. She didn't join the party. And the ward chairman will attest to it. Her own ward chairman will attest to the fact that he never joined the party. Okay? And you have heard of somebody who, after the presidential election, went to PDP and contested the primary of PDP and told them that he was never a member of Labour Party. He left Afenifere. Afenifere gave him an assignment to come and assist Peter Obi. Are you with me? So these are facts that are available to everybody. It's not everybody that supported Peter Obi that was member of Labour Party. Of course, some of them can now decide to come and join. Who accept them if they want to join? But the fact remains that they are not yet member of the party. Yes, Senator Ume, by virtue of the fact that he contested, he had to do the needful before he was allowed to contest. So he's a member. All right? So,
Mr. Olorunfemi, answer that question. Just to remind you, congresses, did you conduct congresses that culminated in your convention? Hold on. How did Abure emerge chairman when there was a Kalustis or Kafo? Because that's also an issue that is destroying the party.
The consent judgment you are talking about, okay. The consent judgment you are talking about did not embrace every member of the party. TUC was not involved in that case. That was something they did. However, it took place in 2018, after which a convention took place in 2019. Those who disagree with that convention were the ones that are complaining all over the place. That was the period of Salam. Okay? So maybe Ume didn't look at that document and read and look at the date. The other agreement is talking about was the one that was reached in 2002, which was as a result of the TUC effort in reconciling everybody in the party. I led that team.
All right.
But again, in signing that agreement...
The Congress bit.
Yes. Are you with me?
Yes, the Congress bit. We're winding down now. The Congress.
Okay. Now, the tenure of local government, state school, is quite different from that of the national. It was through this national convention, based on the popular opinion, that we had to amend the constitution to reflect single tenure for everybody. So it is this constitution that will now bring everybody together that in such a manner that whenever we want to conduct the next convention, we will have to start from the local government level. But when you look at our constitution, it's very clear. It's very clear. It brings delegates from the state.
All right, Mr.
That's what the constitution, all these things you are talking about and badly about, it's not there in our constitution.
All right, Mr. Olorunfemi.
You cannot import the constitution of PDP and bring it here. If you are bringing it, we can accept it, but it will have to follow due process.
Mr. Olorunfemi must thank both of you for coming on the program. That means there's a lot in the offing as far as the conversation around the Labour Party crisis is concerned. Yahaya Olorunfemi, Labour Party Deputy National Chairman, joining us via Zoom from Akure, and Mr. Victor Ume, Senator representing Anambra Central District, joining us from Abuja studios. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk about this issue of flood and the alert that the federal government is issuing to states that may be affected with the release of water from the dams. Join us again.
Now, while the people affected by the flooding in Maiduguri, Borno State, are trying to get some semblance of normalcy as a result of that flooding. There are other states that are at risk, particularly in southern Nigeria. And this morning, we want to ensure that all of these states and others who may be affected understand what is coming, what to do, so we don't get caught napping. And we have joining us on the program this morning the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Mr. Umar Mohammed. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Mr. Mohammed, you're welcome to the Morning Brief. I know it's been a busy period for you, seeing the situation in Borno, now having to give some sort of warning to southern states, Adamawa, Taraba, that's in the north, then Benue Central, Nasarawa, Kogi, but then add Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Rivers to that list. It's said to be a release of water from Lagdo Dam, as you said, but I'd like you to begin by telling us when will this begin, and then we'll talk about what needs to be done. Mr. Mohammed.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm Femi Bejide, Director of Operational Hydrology, representing the DG, Umar Ibrahim Mohammed.
Oh, interesting.
The situation is that the Cameroonians and the Lagdo Dam, the water is being released already since yesterday. And there is an agreement that the water should be released in phases. So NISA, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, is in constant, communication with the management of Lagdo Dam to release water intermittently in order for the River Benue in Nigeria to be able to contain such water so that there will not be much flooding as it used to be. And the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency have issued an alert a few days ago to 12 states as well downstream of River Benue, as we have highlighted. So the waters are coming, and our stations at Wuroboki, where the Lagdo and water from Lagdo Dam enters Nigeria. Our station there, we're in contact with them even up to this morning before I entered the studio. The water level is still still normal, though rising, but not at an alert rate yet, red alert. So the water will be coming down to Lokoja, down throughout those south states, down to rivers, down to Bayelsa, to the ocean. So for now, there is calm and normalcy, but the water is being regulated from Lagdo Dam, the release.
So, I know that this may make it to our blooper reel because we expected the DG, didn't know that you were going to be the one to represent him on the program this morning. But are you saying then that the water is being released already?
Yes, water has been released already from the Lagdo Dam.
Okay,
and,
so that is the when. The water has been released. I imagine it's going to be for some weeks. Now, let's talk about what needs to be done. We saw what played out in Borno State. The Alo Dam, the old one and the new one of them giving way, breaking. And I imagine that other states will be learning from this. So what needs to be done to contain the water? Because naturally water will find its level, and we don't want that level to be in people's homes, streets, disrupting businesses and livelihood. So let's talk about the what now. For those states you have listed, what do they need to be doing as soon as yesterday?
Yes, our agency, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, is our statutory responsibility to warn the populace. And early this year, in March, we have released what we call Annual Flood Outlook, AFO. And it has been circulated nationwide to the governors, to the state, to the local governments, and to NEMA. So preparation for this flood has already been on since. Now that we have released also a red alert about 3 weeks ago on River Niger basin, and Kanji Dam and Jeba Dam, they are also on alert and they have prepared for the waters coming from the River Niger flank. Now it's River Benue coming from Cameroon Lagdo Dam. We have also, as an agency, meets with the management of Lagdo Dam. So the water coming can be contained. Everybody has their part to play. As the federal government is doing their part, our agency is doing our part, NEMA is prepared. Individuals also have to do their own part. They have to move from the flood plain. And houses, also their drainages, they have to clean and clear their drainages. Like you have said, water will find its way. So the waterway should be cleared. The drainages should be cleared to allow this water to pass. So, and where there is no drainages, they should begin to quickly construct and make a way for the water to pass. And that is the responsibility of everybody, the community, the villagers, and also individuals. Look at your house. If your house is at the floodplain, please move from the floodplain. It's an appeal.
So, Mr. Bejide, I'd like to, quickly pig it back down to last year when water was released from Lagdo Dam. I recall that the Honorable Minister at the time said that the flooding of 2023 was not a result of release of water from Lagdo Dam, because only 1% of water released from Lagdo Dam gets into Nigeria. So I'd like you to provide some form of clarification, because you are from the Hydrological Services Agency that advises on water and surface ground possibilities. So what exactly is responsible for excess flooding experienced in these states, particularly the coastal states? Is it water release from Lagdo Dam, or is it the advent of climate change as we're witnessing excess rainfall and rising water levels? And in the future, what can be done to mitigate flood disasters?
Thank you. The flood incidents that we are experiencing is not as a result of release from Lagdo Dam. This is a result of climate change. And so much amount of precipitation, that is rainfall, excessive rainfall, within a short period of time. What we're experiencing in Borno is not as a result also of the release from Lagdo Dam, and it was as a result of excessive rainfall, unusual rainfall, because of the effect of climate change. The temperature has increased, the glacier places have been melting, snow melting, and ocean waters rising. These are all what causes the flooding in Borno. And this lack expense of rain water is one that flowed down overflow the two tributaries entering into Alau Dam, and the spillway gave way, and that's what caused that flood. So the flooding we have experienced already in Nigeria is as a result of precipitation. Precipitation means rainfall, excessive rainfall, and it's as a result of climate change. Having cleared that, there is also river flooding. So from the release from Lagdo Dam in the past also has caused also flooding in 2012. So, but that is why the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency has been in constant contact with the management of Lagdo Dam for the release of water intermittently. So, to be able to allow the River Benue system and the tributaries to be able to contain that water and the passage of it through the state that we have allotted down to the Atlantic Ocean.
All right,
but what has to be done also is that there is a report that has been submitted to the presidency. We have to have buffer dams. And 5 have been proposed, and the federal government is looking at that already. So, but at the interim, some of our dams have to be desilted. The tributaries of River Niger and Benue have to be expanded. River trainings and such likes have to be done.
All right, let's talk about what you may understand. I don't know, could you call it the understanding of urgency? Because if we factor in the 5 years that the Lagdo Dam was built, between, say, 77 and 82, Lagdo Dam has been there for over 40 years. And we're still having this kind of conversation in 2024. More like nothing specifically was done to ensure that when these releases happen, it doesn't really, there are no structure, maybe infrastructure in place to, besides the drainage, because we're talking about environmental issues such as pollution here, we're talking flood, we're talking even displacement. So in the short term and the long term, like you started highlighting, what can be done as soon as yesterday to begin to reverse some of these things that will come back next year and talk about Lagdo Dam? We'll come back in 2026 and talk about Lagdo Dam. Forgetting that Lagdo Dam was built in 1982. I don't know if they catch my drift.
Yes, I do. What has to be done is there's nothing wrong in water being released from Lagdo Dam. There's nothing wrong in having excess water. In a country that we need water and that we can use for agriculture, we can use for irrigation during the dry season. What needed to be done has been done. Reports have been written, studies have been carried out, evaluations of dams, everything. So what needed to be done is the buffer dams to be built. Like in Adamawa State now, there is supposed to be a buffer dam that will take this water that is coming from the Lagdo Dam entering Nigeria. There should be a buffer dam, and it has been proposed. An island that is on the drawing board. It has the design. There is a little issue with the design, and they are trying to make an amendment to the design. So I believe that in the next couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, that will have been put in place. And we won't have to be talking so much about this. Flood cannot be eliminated completely, but it can be severely mitigated, reduced drastically. And if these buffer dams are done and constructed, and also our rivers, because it have been silted, even the dams also have been silted over the years. The carriage capacity, it has been reduced to almost 50%. So that if this is done, and the government is already taking that proactive step gradually, and it's unfortunate that we are talking about it now, but it's better late than never.
Pardon me, Kayode, but 296 billion naira has been allocated to the Ministry of Water Resources in the 2024 budget. And prior to this time, NIMET had sent in early warning signals about excess rainfall for this year. Why hasn't the construction of these dams that you talk about not been prioritized in the 2024 budget, particularly because of the amount of rainfall that we've witnessed in the last 2 years?
Yes, I'm in Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, but the parent ministry, Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, and there is a Department of Dams and Reservoir Operations. And the little that I know about that is that the minister, of course, he was in Borno last week, and they have been having a series of meetings, and like I said, this is being prioritized by the ministry and by the minister. And what I can say on that line is that for the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, they are trying their own best to see that this flooding issue is mitigated. And the flood committee that was set up on the federal level, they have submitted their reports, and one of their reports is that 3 billion naira should be given to each state, which the federal government have done already. And there are other issues on the reports, and I believe they are working on it.
Well, as we wind down, one of your core responsibilities is to provide security for life and property against water-related hazards, such as floods, which you're doing, and drought as well, through forecasting and related activities. So I'd like us to be more specific. So we have these states that are at risk: Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo in the South Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River, and River State. Are you saying that since this will be released in bits, these states will not be flooded, and this will not result in displacement and all? Because we need to have a mental picture of what to expect. So in terms of your assessment, your forecast, is there any state that will be most impacted? Or you're saying that with the gradual release, things will go fine?
Yes, with the gradual release, our own position is that with the gradual release, the things should go well if other people and other parties do their parts. What I mean by that is that the drainages, if they are not cleared, that's not the work of Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. It is the local and the communities have their parts to play. So, but for the water being released, it can be contained. It can be contained. So, but the other issues here is the local government, is the state government in their own domain. Where this water will pass, have they cleared it? Along the streams, also they are passing through some houses and the villages. Have they also cleared their own drainages and things like that?
All right.
And some places even they have no drainage. So their part is, they should do their part. But for us, we are ensuring as an agency that the water coming can be contained through the channels.
All right. I know there's a lot of work you do aside flood prediction. There's a drought bit. There's even using water to meet our needs. We know what public water is like. So your work with the Water Corporation and all of that. But we'll explore that perhaps another time. Would like to thank you so much. You're representing the DG, and we hope he's fine. Why he's not able to join us today, because we had expected him. So we hope that the DG is fine, not being able to come today.
Yeah, he's fine. It's because he has to see the Honorable Minister this morning. That's why.
All right, Mr. Oluwafemi Bejide, Director, Operational Hydrology, NISA, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So, if your state was mentioned, then you have to stay alert, find out what government is doing, and ensure you're playing your part as well, because time is of the essence. But we'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll talk about Nigerian stories on the big screen. What does it take to tell these stories? How lucrative is it? And maybe you might get some suggestion for movie night. Well, stay with us.
Let's talk to Pascal Atuma. He's responsible for what you just saw as a trailer of that particular movie, star-studded movie Mr. Pascal joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let me contextualize. He's an actor, director, screenwriter, and a film producer. So let's give you your full credit as to what you do as a movie producer. So maybe we'll start off from what we just saw, Star-Studded, that particular movie. But let me also start with a concern a couple of the times, because when I see a lot of big names in a movie, I'm always concerned about the plots. And sometimes I'm not wrong. We just see a lot of big names and then we get lost and like, okay, how did this come about? We don't really enjoy the movie at the end of the day. So how do you, as a person, make sure that if you have big names in your movie, you don't lose the plot and deliver in what I should expect will be the outcome of this particular trailer we've seen?
You see, the movie is not about the big names. So I don't set out to make movies because I want big names in. The movie is about the storyline. It's about the message. It's about what are we trying to achieve. So the big names are just, for you, you can say big names, but for me, all I see are professional actors that can execute my vision, that can bring my vision to life. So it doesn't really matter about the names. What matters and what I'm after is the message, the storyline, and to deliver what we set out to deliver, not about the names.
All right, so let's not, I just wanted to speak to that, but let's walk back to how Pascal got to where he is. We always like to do that. The reason is to, your story could, trigger somebody to get to work who has been feeling like, I can do this. Maybe a young person who is watching. How did you get here?
Oh, I actually went to theater school. I studied theater in Dallas, Texas. So when I finished, I moved to Los Angeles, and I did what we call the DGA training, where you have to serve as a boy to the big boys, serve them their coffee, be on set, just be happy to be on set with them. So I did that for 4 years. I understood it, and then I took out from there. So it's not for everybody. It's not for the soft-hearted. A lot of people will tell you, you can't do it, you can't do it. Oh, it's going to take a long time. Oh, these people did it, they didn't succeed and all that. But if it's what God has called you to do, and if you have the passion, you have the patience, and you also have to be committed and dedicated to the craft, then you can get to this level. But you have to be willing to serve, because through serving, you will learn. If you don't serve, you're not going to learn. You'll not learn. The classroom is not enough. Classroom is not enough. So during the DGA training in the US in Los Angeles, that's where I learned a lot about the business. And over the years, the more you play, the more you learn. The more you play, the more you learn. And me personally, I've been privileged. I've been privileged to work with the best talents out there, the best technicians out there, shooting in the US or shooting in Canada or shooting in Nigeria. I've been lucky to have the best cast and crew around me.
And, we started off by talking about, how profitable it is, but beyond that, how do we even get to profitability? And the reason I'm asking this question, Pascal, is, because of the current realities that Nigeria, finds itself with inflation hitting the rooftop and price of commodities increasing. So before you get to the benefits, the huge global benefits that streaming platforms offer, how are you able to get the work out there, given the current economic realities?
What we do is, some people call it film, some people call it music, some people call it radio, all that, but it's called show business. It's called show business because the show carries the business carries the show. So considering the economic situation in Nigeria, even all over the world now, since the war, the Russia war with these guys, the world has been experiencing difficulty economically, business-wise, all over. But what we try to do is to make sure that we stay afloat. How do we stay afloat? Tell the right stories. How do we stay afloat? Perform the right partnerships. Like if you see this movie, immediately we finish this movie, I have to call on Nile Media Group, because I know that with Nile Media Group, they'll bring the business in. And you also have to understand that these projects, you cannot do them without executive producers. The executive producers are not interested in your storyline. They're not interested in the craft. They're not interested in your technical abilities. All they understand is numbers. That's numbers, numbers, and numbers. So when you bring in a team like the Night Group Entertainment to handle the distribution, they understand that the reason why you're partnering with them is for them to match the show with the business. So no matter what goes on, you have to put that into consideration because these are businessmen putting their hard-earned money into these films. Like if you look at this film, like your partner said earlier, colleague said earlier, we have big name stars in the movie. Omoni, Nancy, Mama G, Linda, Osifo, Joseph Benjamin. None of them reside in Canada except Omoni. So we have to shoot in Nigeria and also shoot in Canada. We have to go through the visa process. We have to buy their flight tickets. And remember, these big stars, they don't fly in economy. It's business class. So if you add just the business class tickets alone, go from $7,000, $8,000 for a ticket, you understand that this is not just fun. It is business, and we have to do business. So no matter the situation going on, we must make sure that the show matches the business, and the business matches the show, so that we can stay afloat.
And I love to talk about the money, right? So let's just dive right into that. And this is important because I've heard that the biggest stories are coming from Africa. So I do a quick math. I look at the biggest stories or the biggest movies before now, and I see that a lot of them grossed $2 billion plus, in fact, almost $3 billion. The highest is almost grossing $3 billion, $2.9 billion. So when I hear that the biggest stories now are now coming from Africa, what I expect is that at least those stories will be doing within that range. But what we've seen clearly is not that. So really, how lucrative is telling Nigerian stories in particular now? And why is it that we've not been able to really match up to that biggest stories tag that they've always given us? The biggest stories are coming from Africa, from Nigeria. But when you look at the money, what you gross, it doesn't look like it. So what exactly are we missing here?
The business part of it. You just said $2 billion, $3 billion, but you didn't put something into consideration. What you need to put into consideration is a movie that will gain $2 billion to $3 billion is garbage in, garbage out. I'll give you an example. We just did this movie now. It's a global storyline, but the budget cannot accommodate most of the global stars. You understand? Now, this same storyline, we take this same storyline and we take it to Los Angeles. And we alternate the cast. Same storyline, same production team, we alternate the cast. We bring in an Angela Bassett to take a role. We'll bring in a Denzel Washington to take a role. Just bringing in a Angela Bassett and the Denzel Washington, that creates the shift there. So now it's no longer a regular African story. It becomes a global story told from the African perspective. Now, if you look at that, so you have to consider the budget is garbage in, garbage out. Now, you don't set out. Let me break it down for you this way. The money we use for entire production of a Nollywood film is not enough for pre-production in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, low-budget movies, classified low-budget movies is from $3 million. If you go into the SAG, let's assume you want to sign a SAG contract, Screen Actors Guild contract, and you go to SAG. They have ultra low budget, they have low budget, and then they have real budget. Low budget is $3 million. Which African production, which Nigerian movie have you seen they put in $3 million? Now, that's number one. Number two, if you make a call to Denzel Washington's agent now, the first question they will ask you before even they ask you about the storyline is, what is your budget? So when you say your budget, then Denzel is going to, taking him alone, it's not going to work for less than $5 million. Minimum. That's where he's trying to be nice. Whereas in Nollywood, I don't even think we've had a $1 million budget. I'll give you an example, myself. I studied in the US, I played in Los Angeles, I worked in Los Angeles, I worked in Canada. If you give me a $5 million budget, I will go and make a movie that will go out there and make this kind of money you are talking about with the right storyline. Because with a $5 million budget, I can bring in more partners from overseas that will bring money, and we'll have the type of budget to command the stars that will come and tell the story. So until we go to that level, we're going to be right here where we are.
All right, Mr. Atuma, we're seeing this, but we understand the title of the movie is Imported Wives. Just give us a synopsis of what this movie is really all about.
Okay, the Imported Wives is a story that's overdue because there's a lot of catastrophe going on among Africans that went home and married wives and brought them overseas. So once they cross down Murtala Mohammed Airport or the Ghana Airport or Kenya Airport, there's a shift. There's a shift in culture. There is a shift in what they term is called freedom. You understand? And then when the people, it's just only about, it's not even about wives. It happens to men too. Once they get here, get situated, get their green card, start working, all hell will break loose. Then the rules will change. The rules of engagement will change. So unlike when they're in Africa, Africa is a man's world. Out here is a woman's world. Do you understand? So when they get here and that clash of culture, the enjoyment of the initial freedom, and then also the influence of the older women who already divorced their husbands on the young women, then all hell will break loose. So we did Imported Wives to serve as a mirror for families who people come back home to marry their daughters, to look at Imported Wives and look at the person and be able to use Imported Wives as a reference, right? To ask them questions, hey, is this what it's going to be? Is this what it's going to be? My daughter, when you get there, look at this movie. Please, we don't want your storyline to go this way. So that's why we made the movie Imported Wives. It's very important, especially with the Japa syndrome. A lot of people marry just to Japa. Please, my sisters out there, do not marry anybody for just the Japa reason, because it's not going to work. That's why we made Imported Wives.
And I think this is a storyline that will resonate well. I don't know when it's starting or when it will show, where it will show, and all of that. But I'm quite interested in watching this because this is something that we heard.
The Nile Entertainment Media Group, headed by Moses Papatope, they are in charge. I've done my job as a filmmaker. Right. I'm done. I've handed over. The ball is now in their court to play.
Let me set you up with this question. Let me set you up with this question. We've seen Jennifer's Funke Akindele's movie grossing 1 billion plus. If you do the conversion, in fact, let's go there. So if we want to make this movie, and I want us to just be open here as we wind up, if we want to make this movie gross something substantial, what must be done? What should be done?
We must market it to the global audience. We must market it to the global audience, and there must be partnership deals done between Nile Media Group and other distribution companies around the world, because this story is not only an African story. This story is with Chinese. Chinese go through the same. The Indians go through the same.
And in marketing it, which would be your preferred streaming platform?
Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix, our last movie, Clash, went to Netflix and it did very well. So Netflix or Amazon, they are global platforms.
All right, Mr. Atuma, when you make those monies, please bring us our cuts, because
we are together.
Because if you want to pay for the commercial we have done, but this is why we're here to support Nigeria. We're super proud of the fact that you're living abroad, but you carry the African heritage where you go, and you're aggregating our people, bringing them from Nigeria and the ones that are there. It's great to see Joseph Benjamin back on the screen again. That's why I'm saying that. Thank you so much, Mr. Pascal Atuma, director, actor, screenwriter, and film producer. I will say I have done my part. The rest is to the distributors. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so guys,
what movie are we doing now?
I don't know.
It seems like we'll be preparing for the election movie in a couple of days.
We'll move from Yahaya Bello versus EFCC movie, drama that happened, episode 2. By the way, Yahaya Bello is winning by 2-0. They couldn't arrest him. If the idea is to arrest him, they didn't arrest him the last time. They didn't arrest him now.
So it's 2-0.
So it's 2-0.
3-0, in fact, if you count the number of episodes of the drama that has played out. The one last night, as well, besides the one in the afternoon.
And we're just talking about the arrest attempt. So, but this time, let's head to Edo, Kayode and Bukola.
Oh yes, well, we understand that the materials are landing in Edo as we speak. It's just 2 days. In fact, take away today, just Friday, that is between Edo
less than 48
and that
hours.
big election. So there you have it. Sensitive materials from CBN being aggregated.
Yeah, it's showing on your screen as we speak. And there we have vehicles, I believe from INEC, deploying sensitive and non-sensitive materials to areas that will be needing them. But first of all, they will touch on the INEC office in Benin City, the Edo State capital, before they go to all the local governments where elections will take place on Saturday.
So I guess that's why you're seeing this gridlock, because these are sensitive materials. It's the last lap. If there's any mistake at this point, the entire process could be compromised. So I want to enjoin the entire people of Edo State. This is your franchise. Go exercise it. The last time, the election, the voting, just about 500,000 people. And if you take the number of people who are people from Edo State, that's about 10% decided the re-election of Godwin Obaseki. So we expect it to do better this time in terms of voter turnout. But with the violence, we hope the people can rise above that and just do the best. And the police should do their job to ensure the people are safe. So
absolutely.
Sensitive materials being shipped out.
Neutrality as well in the process while doing their jobs.
But not to worry, we're here to give you all of the happenings, cover all of the angles. So stay with us right here on Channels Television. But we have to anchor the morning brief at this point. But here's my charge to you. Whatever movie you find yourself in, make sure you play your role to your utmost best and get something good out of it. Sunrise Daily is next. So stay with us right here on Channels Television. I'm Kayode Okikele.
Yes, we'll be back with the last edition of the show for the week tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bukola Koka.
Again, Edo people, go out there, exercise your franchise. Police, INEC, we're watching. Do your job professionally. Goodbye. I'm Jeff Ruzama.